Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Sunday, December 7th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith with you on this Sunday, breaking down the Sunday NHL card. Pretty big slate for a Sunday. 8 games on tap. We'll get to those in just a moment. We're going to roll through the recap. I'm going to hit on just a few games in the recap. There's some that aren't even worth talking about, quite honestly. Not much was going on. I'm not going to break down for 5 minutes Blues and Senators, okay? I'm just not going to do that. That was a pretty dull game, but give the Blues credit for a win there and a solid effort from Joel Hofer. The day started with a very entertaining finish to Colorado and the New York Rangers. Avs get a 3-2 overtime win. Credit to the Rangers. They hung in there for a good chunk of that game, thanks to Igor Shesterkin. But Nathan MacKinnon could not be denied. He was fantastic again. What a season he continues to have for the Colorado Avalanche, the overtime winner for the victory there over the New York Rangers. What a game Columbus, Florida was. Defense optional. Back and forth it went throughout. But the Florida Panthers find a way in overtime. Dean Evison had an ongoing war with the referees throughout that game for multiple calls that went against Columbus, calling the game a joke and not really elaborating on it after the game. But I think Dean had the right to be upset. Some of those calls were very, very sketchy that went against the Jackets. But at the same time, you know what the bigger joke is? Giving up 7 goals. That can't happen. And again, Elvis Merzlikins made a critical error, gaff coming out of the net to play the puck, got caught, which led to the tying goal. This has to stop. Jet Greaves has to be the goalie now, okay? I know he's been winning, but it's been smoke and mirrors victories when Merzlikins has been in there because of the fact that they've been obviously, scoring goals and giving him run support. He's still not playing great. Jet Greaves, your better goalie. Play him. Play him and play him consistently. Because to me, what I've seen, he's separated from Elvis, and that's a real tough loss for Columbus. You have multiple leads in that game, and you can't hold a single one of them against a struggling Panthers team. That's very, as you can tell, I'm upset because I had the money line, but I did have the team total and I had the over, so it wasn't all bad in that game. But that's a game they should have won. Montreal, Jakub Dobeš, great game. Hildeby was great in defeat. 2-1 shootout win for Montreal. Very good goaltending, both sides there. We sweep the over by Fecta with Nashville, Carolina. We talked about that angle at home off a home loss. It came through again. First period, full game over. On a night that was littered with unders, we saw that over by Fecta come through with Nashville, Carolina. Nice bounce-back win for the Canes there. Islanders, way to go, Alex, with the best bet. Islanders shutting out Tampa 2-0. No Kucherov, no point, no offense. Apparently for the Lightning without those two guys last night. Nice win there for the Islanders, and they beat the Tampa Bay Lightning twice in less than a week. And obviously, Jonas Johansson can't even fault him. When you don't score, you can't win. Calgary, back-to-back wins. They shut out Utah 2-0. Boston beats New Jersey 4-1. More offensive issues for the Devils. 1 goal in their last 3 games combined. It has been a horrible stretch for the Devils offensively during this run. Well, I guess for your Blackhawks, Alex, scheduled loss, I guess is what you could say. I mean, L.A., they finally meant business, came out like it, and put the boots to Chicago there 6-0. That's not a big deal for Chicago. No panic necessary. Just like it's not, I wouldn't, do handstands yet if I'm L.A. and a Kings fan. I got to see more. You got to put a streak together, but give the Kings credit. Felt like a game they had to have, and they were able to beat Chicago there 6-0. How about Vancouver? All of a sudden, Jesper Wallstedt, human again, as the Canucks beat the Wild 4-2 in that game. Missed opportunities for Minnesota. They had a pretty good first period, couldn't extend a 1-0 lead. And when you let any team hang around, even a struggling one, sometimes you're in some trouble. And another bad loss. That's 2 bad losses in a row for Minnesota on this road trip against Calgary and Vancouver. Winnipeg, rough night. Very, very interesting that they went back to Comrie on a back-to-back. Scott Arniel, rough first period for him. He gets taken out. I think Milic should have started. Comrie looked like a guy that needed a rest last night, but Milic was put in after that. Horrible first period. 4-0 Edmonton after the first. They didn't look back. 6-2 Edmonton. So that was a good game. I had team total over on the Oilers and also the, what else? The full game over. 6.5. And we had the best bet win for me. So it was a 2-0 best bet on the show yesterday for Alex and I. We had Detroit, Seattle over 5.5. Red Wings get a 4-3 win there in that game. And again, now that's 8-0-2 to the over between the Red Wings and the Kraken all time. Alex, your thoughts on what we saw Saturday?
Yeah, just 4 games that stuck out with me. One, that early game with Colorado and the Rangers. I don't understand for the life of me how Jared Bednar does not take a timeout after back-to-back icings on a 6-on-4 spot.
That was a mistake.
That was a huge mistake. That game should have never gone to overtime. You call a timeout there and get your guys refreshed and ready, you probably win that game in regulation. And it doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. Okay, you gave up a point to the Rangers, a cross-conference rival. But what if that's a division game? What if that's late in the year? You don't want to give up points like that. I just thought that was a really dumb move.
Clearly a missed opportunity to give your top D pair and your top defensive forwards who are always out in a situation like that 6-on-5 some rest.
Yeah, they were gassed, and it didn't do it, and that game ends up getting tied. So thankfully, like I said, McKinnon bails them out in OT, but that was a dumb move. That really stuck out with me. And then you go to the afternoon game. What a fun one, right? And it seemed like all the offense was taken up by this game, because if you look at the first evening games at 6 o'clock starts, it seemed like there was no scoring going on for a while. And he's like, oh, well, all the scoring's happening in Florida and Columbus. Great game, and I'm mad at myself. Shout out to a couple people in the comments after the show. They did catch on this. I was supposed to bet the draw yesterday, and that draw did come through. And now we've seen this pattern continue over the last few games, where it's 2 games back to back with a game in past regulation for Columbus, and then a game that ends in regulation. So based on the trend, their next game against Washington, we do not bet the draw, but then we maybe come back for Carolina and Ottawa. It's strange how that pattern has been picking up steam now, with 2 on and 1 off. So that's something that stuck out with me. Hawks game, like you said, kind of a scheduled loss. I thought it was very strange. We both thought it was strange. We didn't see any confirmation that it was Soderblom. And then all of a sudden you hear, well, it's Spencer Knight going back again. He didn't look like himself. That Hawks was another bad second period. First period was fine. They outshot LA. They seemed to still kind of have that momentum like they did in the first period of Thursday's game. But another bad second period for the Hawks. I don't know what that's about. But like I said, the Kings needed that game. They played the last 40 minutes of that game knowing as if, like, Jim Hiller's job was on the line, knowing that things might be shaken up if they were to lose that contest. So, that was an important win for them. And for the Hawks, hey, you got another game today. You can, dump that one out and make amends, make anew with the game against a team that you've, had a little bit of a history with so far this year in Anaheim. And then the Minnesota game, like I said, another bad loss for them. Wallstead finally getting beat. Wasn't going to win every game, much to the chagrin of the people in my neighborhood, in my area. It was going to happen. He's going to have a bad game. But to have that against Vancouver is a little shaky. Having bad games against Calgary and Vancouver is a little bit shaky. You need to beat those teams if you're going to be a playoff team moving forward.
I would agree with that. All right, let's get into Sunday. We got a big slate, and we will rip through it. Colorado, Philadelphia. Colorado minus 180, road favorite, 6 the total here in this game. Very interested to monitor the goaltending situation. I'm leaning dog and draw in this spot, quite honestly. Colorado, it's a tough back-to-back. It's 2 early starts in a row, early afternoon affairs after the win in overtime against the Rangers yesterday. Philly with the rest advantage, obviously, haven't played since beating Buffalo 5-2 way back on Wednesday. So really 3 days off here for Philly. It is a big situational advantage here for the Flyers. And then you factor in, now Colorado has beaten them 3 times in a row. Last year they won both meetings, but I'm very interested. And we may see only the second start this season in net for Trent Miner. Trent Miner could be in line to start here because remember, Wedgwood's still out. They started Blackwood yesterday. And Trent Miner, in his one and only start this year, it was in a losing cause. He was in net for a loss against the New Jersey Devils earlier this season. So given the scheduling spot advantage, which clearly is with Philadelphia, back-to-back, a goalie that's predominantly played in the American Hockey League, there's reasons to think Philly could be live here. Again, it's not easy to step in front of a beast like Colorado with how well they've played, but definitely lean Flyers, lean draw. I'm waiting for the goalie confirmations. Alex, what do you think here? Avs, Flyers.
Yeah, we were all talking about it in the chat, but I like this look. First goal, first period for Philly, plus 145. I was on it yesterday with the Rangers. It didn't cash through, but no one scored in the first and went all the way middle into the second period before we saw Colorado get on the board. But I like this spot, like I said, where Philly at least getting some momentum early. Now, the whole game, I'm not really sure about that. I'd have to, like I said, wait for confirmation. If it is Trent Miner, I would be leaning more towards the draw, but I definitely do like first goal in first period for the Flyers, plus 145 available at FanDuel.
All right, San Jose, Carolina. This is also an afternoon game. This is the second of three afternoon games, rather, on this Sunday slate. Carolina minus 310 to minus 320. Home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. It is confirmed Alex Nedeljkovic will start here for the San Jose Sharks. And if you've been paying attention to this show or been watching San Jose games, you know that we have talked about multiple times. There's definitely a bit of a widening gap right now between him and Yaroslav Askarov, who has gotten the most of the starts and certainly been the better goalie. So we'll see how he fares. San Jose is coming off a 4-1 loss to Dallas on Friday night in their last game. Carolina very used to these Sunday home 5 p.m. starts. They've done this a bunch of times. We saw Brandon Bussey get the start last night against Nashville in that 6-3 victory. And you know what that means? It's probably the old declining, aging, decrepit veteran, Freddie Anderson, that might get the start here on the back-to-back for Carolina. And Freddie's not right. And I'm not just the only one that said that. I mean, Jonathan Davis has been screaming it from the heavens, our pal there, for a long time, how Freddie Anderson's not the same goal. He's been giving up goals early and often in games. So if this is a Freddie Anderson confirmation, put it this way, I'm already leaning over by Fecta here in this game. Probably will be on that regardless. But definitely if Frederick Anderson's confirmed, I'm going to go one step further. And I'm going to go with not just over by Fecta, but maybe both teams to score first period. Maybe definitely San Jose goal in the first period, because we're going to get that at a very cheap price here. With them being, facing a team that's a minus 300 favorite. You're going to be able to get San Jose in that reasonable minus 120 range as far as scoring a goal in the opening period. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, you can get minus 120 right around that price. San Jose goal in the first period. I like that quite a bit. If you want to really be bold, you could go San Jose first goal, first period. I'd be tempted if it's Freddie Anderson. He's been the king of giving up early goals lately. Look at the Toronto start. First shot goes past him, and it was not a great goal on his part to give up. So San Jose first goal, first period at a massive plus number is interesting. I like the San Jose just to score a goal in the first period, most of all. Over by Fecta may turn that into a trifecta if Anderson's confirmed. Alex, what do you think here? San Jose, Carolina.
Yeah, I like Sharks team total over 2.5 plus 118, regardless of who's in it. That's something I will be betting regardless. But like I said, I will be adding those plays on as well if it's Anderson. Certainly, we'll be looking for over by Fecta in game. But I will have both teams to score in the first. Sharks first goal, first period. Sharks goal in the first period. All of those will be add-ons if Anderson's confirmed.
Don't know if I'll take San Jose plus 270. Don't know about that, because I don't trust Nedeljkovic fully here for the Sharks. He's been giving up goals lately. And Carolina, back-to-back, but no travel. And, they lost a couple. Now they're trying to get on a little bit of a roll here. I could see them still winning the game and still scoring goals offensively. So the San Jose looks are going to be, for me at least as of now, and not to mention Carolina's won 8 straight. So they have, definitely dominated this series. So my looks towards San Jose are going to be more team total, first period goal, and maybe a sprinkle on that first goal of the first period at that big plus price. All right, next up, we've got, as we continue along here, we've got someone that's not scared to take the Sharks money line, though. Our friend AM in the chat mentioning he likes San Jose live. I'd certainly lean that way, but I just like the earlier looks more and the team total as well, because I'm not sure Nedeljkovic is going to shut the door necessarily here. All right, New York Islanders, Florida Panthers. We've got Florida minus 160, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game between these two teams. I'm going to do a dog and draw split here, small on this. I know we're going to get David Riddick because it's a back-to-back. It was Ilya Sorokin, and normally I would be petrified to back David Riddick at all. He's usually a bet against or pass goalie for me throughout the course of his career. We have to give David Riddick some level of respect and kudos. He's having a decent year. He's having a solid year here for the New York Islanders. So if it is him in net, I'm not that worried, especially when he's got Tarasov likely on the other side. Danil Tarasov, who's been definitely ordinary at times this year in between the pipes for the Florida Panthers. 2.61 goals against, 901 save percentage for Riddick. 6-2-1. Tarasov's just 2-4. 2.67 goals against, 907 save percentage. What's funny is Tarasov's numbers are slightly better than Riddick's, but his win-loss record is much worse. So it's very, very interesting to see how this plays out. But again, Florida, you talk about an escape. They didn't play great yesterday against Columbus, but they escaped because Elvis Merzlikins and the defense of Columbus was a shit show, and Columbus got in penalty trouble, some of which they did not deserve, as Dean Evison alluded to in the postgame. So, like I said, I'm very interested in dog and draw split here, Islanders and the Panthers. This is another one where right now Florida's an over team. Like, they can score, especially now with, Verhaeghe's now back from his little absence to dealing with the birth of his kid. But the defense, man, it's not the same Panther defense. That was atrocious yesterday. The odd man rushes, the turnovers, the breakdowns in their own zone defensively. So, like I said, I will look for over by Fecta, but I'm going to take a shot waiting for it a few minutes into the game. Alex, what do you think here? Islanders, Panthers.
I grabbed the draw and definitely shop around. I don't know what's up with FanDuel the last couple of days dealing these fucking 290s, but that's just trash. Like, you can get BetMGM has plus 333, Bet Online has plus 325. Like, I just find that odd that all of a sudden they're just dealing all sub 300 numbers with the draw at FanDuel. So shop around for the draw. I grabbed it at BetMGM best price, but I definitely like OT here.
One thing that's big for the Panthers is they got Cool Mint, our buddy, Cool Mint Lusterine and E2 back yesterday from injury, and he helps. And now he can put together Paul Maurice, Lusterine, and Lundell together again. Although he put him with Reinhart, not with Marchand yesterday, but still great to have for Florida. E2, Cool Mint, Lusterine, and back in the lineup for them. All right, Pittsburgh, Dallas. We've got Dallas minus 170, home favorites, 6 the total here across the board in this game. Dallas, obviously, workman-like game against San Jose. It was not as easy as probably some people would have thought, but they pulled away in the third period after it was tied early in that period. We'll see who's in net for these two teams. Jake Ottinger projected, Tristan Jarry projected here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And Jarry's kind of separated from Shelov's a little bit for this Pittsburgh team. Certainly been a little bit the better goalie for them of late. Pittsburgh, 4 of the last 5 games they've won, so they played pretty solid hockey. We'll see if that carries over into this game. They also beat Dallas last year in Dallas by a score of 5-3. We'll see if that carries over. This is not any game that I've moved on yet. I'm waiting on the goalie confirmations. It's pretty important because, to me, I look at Pittsburgh as a team I may back with Jarry at the moment here in a spot like this. Maybe potential for Dallas to maybe get caught here a little bit by Pittsburgh. But if it's Shelov's, I'd probably pivot to the over in some fashion. But waiting on that goalie confirmation, I'm totally in agreement with Jonathan's prop. Tommy, anybody that's playing with Crosby and Rust, it's been musical chairs for Dan Muse, finding someone on that top line with Crosby and Rust, and it sounds like Tommy Novak's going to be up there. It was Kevin Hayes before, and Kevin Hayes did score at least once, I remember, up on that top line. If Tommy Novak's on that top line, he's the guy that now is the great prop value for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and you can get it over plus 500. So if Thomas Novak is indeed up there with Crosby and Rust, it's a great value to bet his prop to score, in my opinion, here in this game tonight. Alex, what do you think here? Pittsburgh, Dallas.
Yeah, this is one where I'm probably going to wait and just watch live and jump in with something. I've been burned by Pittsburgh all year long. Whenever I do jump on them, it seems like they get blown out. The Dallas team totals has been something that's been a bugaboo match. These are two teams that I personally just haven't done well with betting with. So I can just wait for it in game, or if nothing pops up, I just pass it.
All right, there we go. St. Louis and Montreal. Sam Steele, by the way, finally came through for me on that top line, and I definitely think we will go in that direction once again with Sam Steele as well for a prop in this game. St. Louis and Montreal. Montreal minus 130, home favorites, 5.5 the total here in this game. Montreal, nice hard-fought win, 2-1 in a shootout against Toronto. Back-to-back shootout wins for the Montreal Canadiens here entering this game. I have to do it. I know St. Louis is trending under, 8-2 in their last 10 games. And even Montreal, after a torrid over streak, 2 straight for them have gone under. But these over series history, I keep saying it, series history overs are freaking crushing it right now. Every time you have bet an over lately in the NHL based on a strong pattern of head-to-head meetings going over the total between the two teams, you've cashed every single one. Montreal, Ottawa, Buffalo, Philly, Detroit, Columbus, Detroit, Seattle. Last night alone, just this week alone, I'm rhyming off 4 strong series history overs that have cashed. Here's another one. 6 straight overs head-to-head between the Blues and the Canadiens. So at 5.5, count me in. Over 5.5, it's my only pregame bet What do you think here, Alex? St. Louis, Montreal.
I grabbed a little piece of over 5.5. It was minus 130. I will try to grab a bit more in game as well as the first period over, but definitely liking goals here in the spot. And probably will have both teams to score as well. So this is going to be an over trifecta, but adding more pieces in game.
Yeah, nothing on the side. Both teams are in a back-to-back. Binnington and I don't trust Binnington, and I don't trust Montembeault. That's another reason I think over is worth a look here. Blues and Canadians. You got, I think, probably the goalies at the moment, especially when Hofer puts up a performance like he did last night against Ottawa. You got the goalies that are the weaker of the two netminders for these respective teams right now. The goalies that are in the worst form, being, of course, Montembeault for Montreal as opposed to Dobish, and Binnington for St. Louis right now as opposed to Hofer. Like, Hofer's performance last night was better than anything I've seen out of Binnington of late. So, like I said, we got the weaker goalies too in this matchup. 5.5 in a matchup that's had 6 straight meetings between these teams go over the total. So, like I said, definitely looking at that. No doubt. Matt Luff, that's an interesting one, Jonathan. Plus 650. Recalled for the Blues with the Kyrou injury. He's a guy that played for my Hamilton Bulldogs when they were still in town here, the junior team, many years ago. Matt Luff, good find there. And is he? He's going to be called up and potentially be on the second line. Maybe we'll see. But there you go, plus 650, not bad. Liking that. Worth a shot. Then no argument. All right, next up we've got Columbus, Washington. Washington minus 200. Pretty big home favorites here. Total in this one sitting at, it looks like 5.5, 6.5 actually is what we're looking at here across the board with this total. This is a tough. Now, here's the thing. Washington's coming off a loss to end the road trip against Anaheim, a pretty good road trip. They had that loss in a shootout to the Ducks. Didn't play their best. But this is a pretty brutal scheduling spot. You're coming all the way back from California after a late Friday night game, and you're playing Sunday with just 48 hours in between. That's tough, going coast to coast, in that kind of span. I don't know if I trust Columbus for the game. What I do know is we're going to see Jet Greaves, and we just talked about it. He's the better goaltender right now for the Jackets, and he's going to give them probably a better chance here defensively in this game and moving forward compared to Elvis Merzlikins. I'm going to pounce on Columbus first goal, first period. I mean, these spots have been good. These teams that just coming off the road out. Toronto, mentioned why I didn't want to go up against Toronto's hot streak, but I said, still, this is them off a road trip, and Montreal scored the first goal and won the game. Now, they scored the first goal in the second period. That's not going to do me well if they don't score in the first, but I'm going to take a shot, obviously, with the first goal, first period here with Columbus. Very good plus price. Steaming mad, the coach had Dean Evison after that loss yesterday to the Florida Panthers. Again, I think Washington may get stronger as the game goes on, but I think Columbus could pounce early. I don't mind the first period money line shot either with the Columbus Blue Jackets in this game. Get on the board early, maybe get that first goal. Like I said, coming all the way back from California with only 48 hours from that last game against Anaheim. I think that is a little bit tricky here for the Capitals going into this one tonight, making those early looks toward Columbus. I would lean Columbus full game, but I like the early first period angles more. The first goal, first period, and the first period money line here between these two teams. Now, Washington has won 7 of the last 9, but Columbus did win in Washington last year 4-1 in one of the meetings. By the way, this Columbus team, they continue to be just the ultimate draw machine. 8 of the last 10 Jacket games have gone past regulation. So just by virtue of that, have to sprinkle something on the draw here. Alex, what do you think? Jackets, Capitals.
Be careful. I just mentioned the trend. We've been seeing 2 on and 1 off. Now, to be fair, Jet Greaves, 6 of his last 7 games have gone past regulation. So you're kind of it's kind of a conflicting spots, if you will, when looking at the draw if you're looking at just off of history. This is a spot where I would be a little bit dicey. Like I said, I like Columbus first period looks as well. First goal and first period, I would look for a live first period over. I don't want to lay 145. I think we can wait a couple of minutes into the contest and get that at a cheaper price. So those are the plays I have now. Both teams for first goal, first period for Columbus. Maybe live look at both teams to score and first period over. I'm gonna have a bargain bin from this game as well, but I'm off the draw on this one.
Yeah, you know what? You mentioned that to me, and I thought at some point, man, this damn pattern's going to come to
I did too. I thought it was going to end yesterday. It could have possibly ended yesterday with because of how much I liked Columbus. That was the reason I've just completely forgot to even bet the pattern. I thought that was going to be a better spot for the Jackets. So.
2 draws, regulation game. 2 draws, regulation game. 2 draws, regulation game. That's been the pattern for Columbus. Pretty crazy pattern when you think of it, and that it's kept going for this long, no doubt. But yet it has. So pretty remarkable to see that, no doubt. As far as props go, like I said, Wilson's been great. Protas has certainly shown signs of heating up lately for the Capitals. So like I said, definitely going to be interesting to see how this plays out. They are announcing the brackets for this college football playoffs. I know this is a hockey show, but as we get to the full bracket revealed, I'll just make a quick mention of that here in just a little bit. All right, we got 2 games left. Next up, we've got Vegas and the New York Rangers. Vegas minus 170, road favorites. Total here sitting at 5.5 across the board. I think this is going to be a Jonathan Quick start here for the New York Rangers. It's back-to-back. We saw Shesterkin against Colorado. Hey, Jonathan Quick's up against one of his former teams here, the Vegas Golden Knights. He was there for what, 2 seconds? That's about it for the Vegas Golden Knights. But like I said, looks like he might get the start here. Kira Schmid got the start against against New Jersey, his old team, on Sunday. But Bruce Cassidy said that, and it was a shutout. So believe me, I'm sure Cassidy's going to be tempted to go back to Schmid after a shutout win, but he's been pretty adamant about alternating between Schmid and Carter Hart to be able to get Carter Hart in action here. So I'm expecting, as of now, unless I hear something different, I expect it to be Carter Hart here for the Vegas Golden Knights. This is now going to be, if he plays, his first road start. So this is one where I'm interested in maybe, and this is a pattern for me. We saw this in the start he made against Chicago in his return. Shaky early, fighting the puck early, and then he really settled down and started to get better as things went along. So I definitely think when you look at this situation here with Vegas and the New York Rangers, I feel we're going to have a situation where there could be some goals early. Quick has very good numbers, but he hasn't played in a while. His numbers are good, though, on the season. 1.69 goals against, 944 save percentage. He hasn't played well in a while. I'm waiting on the goalie confirmations. Haven't made a move yet, but I'm interested in certainly first period over in this game, simply because I like that angle and that thinking here where Carter Hart in his first few starts could take him, a few, feels of the puck, if you will, to get more confident in these games and settle in a bit more. And he could be vulnerable to those early goals allowed, like we saw in his return against Chicago. So first period over, lean, but again, waiting for the goalies to be confirmed. Nothing on the side. I mean, Vegas at this price, no. Rangers at all at home right now, tough to back them. And Vegas is heating up. Vegas has put a nice little win streak together. I don't want to step in front of it. Alex, what do you think here? Vegas, New York Rangers.
Now, if we go back a few years, the story with Carter Hart was that he was good at home in Philly and he was bad on the road. Now, obviously, time has moved on. We don't know what that pattern is going to look like now with him in Vegas. But it's just, like I said, so hard to back the Rangers to ask them to score goals. I really can't touch anything pregame in this. I have to wait and see. If I'm seeing the same kind of pace we saw early from the Rangers yesterday, then okay, I should have time to grab anything I like, Rangers or totals or overs. But there's no reason for me to jump in on a 5.5 now with how bad this Rangers team is sometimes at home offensively. And like you said, with Carter Hart, getting more games under his belt, he get some of that rust off of him. We see him maybe give up some goals early and then settle down. So this is one I just want to wait and see.
All right, nothing wrong with that. From the looks of things, Alabama's in the playoff. Miami is in the playoff. Miami has been placed ahead of Notre Dame after all,
Wow.
Even though Miami was behind Notre Dame in the rankings going in to today. And apparently, again, they finally, for those of people that have been screaming that they didn't value the head-to-head win that Miami had against Notre Dame, well, now you just got your wish. Yep. Miami and Bama are in the playoff, and it is Notre Dame that is on the outside looking in. No Notre Dame, no Golden Domers in the college football playoff.
Welcome back, cupcake games. No one will ever schedule another high-profile game like that again, knowing that it could possibly keep you out. That's absolutely insane.
Hey, you know what? People are going to be upset. I just posted it on Twitter. This is where not being in a conference hurts you. Being an
That too.
independent, and just picking
Yep.
and choosing all your schedule every year. Oh, we'll play Stanford. Oh, we'll play this team. Oh, we'll play that team. Navy, we'll play Stanford. We'll play all the hodgepodge of teams. Go join a damn conference.
Yep.
You know, and win a conference or be in. If you're in a conference championship this year, Notre Dame, you're probably in the playoff right now. Yeah.
Here's the crazy thing, right? They play an ACC schedule. Okay,
Yeah.
when during the pandemic, they had to be forced into the ACC. They would have been in the ACC title game last night. Not we wouldn't have been watching Virginia Duke. So yeah, join a conference. You're right.
Yeah. I don't care where it is. ACC. Well, it won't be SEC, but ACC, Big
Yeah.
Ten. Take your
Join the
pick. Join
ACC.
one of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't have this issue. You'd be in the playoff right now.
Yeah.
You know, you cannot. I think they probably. I'm not, and I don't like Miami. I don't like Cristobal, but they beat Notre Dame head to head. You know, they had a good season in their conference. You could argue they could have been in the conference championship game, and Notre Dame, you know, the schedule was pretty damn weak for them. There's no question. So, like I said, I know there's going to be a lot of hurt, upset Notre Dame fans, and they're going to be questioning, well, how are we ahead of Miami? We were both. That's the argument they're going to make. How were we ahead of Miami when you already clearly thought the head-to-head meeting didn't matter because we were ahead of Miami? We were both idle this week. Neither of us played, and yet you moved Miami ahead of us. How's that work? That's what the Notre Dame fan's going to say in being angry about this. But
and
at the end of the
bring
day,
it back to betting
about it now. Yep.
To bring it back to betting, they closed minus 3,000 to make it at one shop.
Wow. Hopefully no one laid that. Hopefully no bridge jumpers out there that
Yeah.
laid that kind of a price. My goodness. All right. So there you go. Yeah. First team out, Notre Dame. There it is. No playoff for the Fighting Irish. Joe Bowen, the great
Fade
voice
them in the bowl game.
Crying in his beer today.
Fade Notre Dame. Fade Notre Dame in whatever bowl game they get because they won't give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna be crestfallen. I mean, Marcus Freeman has got there's gonna be opt-outs maybe too. Anyone that's transfer portal or that's gonna be, like I said, pretty tough here for Notre Dame to get pumped up for whatever bowl game they play. All right, let's get to back to hockey. Last game, Chicago and Anaheim. We've got Anaheim minus 190 home favorites, 6.5 the total here in this game. Very interesting game. Obviously, we'll see how it plays out. Blackhawks and Ducks. It's back-to-back for the Blackhawks. It's the Ducks who got back on track after a blowout, shutout home loss to Utah. Responded with unbelievable performance against a very good Washington team. That was such a very impressive response from this young Anaheim team. We'll see how it goes here between the Blackhawks and the Ducks. You got to think we're going to see Ville Husso again in net here for the Anaheim Ducks. We'll see how it plays out here between these two teams. But like I said, certainly Anaheim has been tough at home. Also going to be playing with a little redemption on their minds because they just lost to the Chicago Blackhawks at the United Center just recently, 5-3 last week. So you got that rapid revenge situation unfolding here with the Anaheim Ducks in this game. Of course, Chicago getting blanked yesterday by the LA Kings. I was very surprised Spencer Knight got a second straight start, to be quite honest, versus LA. We all thought it was going to be Soderblom against LA and Knight here against Anaheim, but it's definitely going to be Soderblom now. They're obviously Jeff Blashill made the decision all along to commit to Soderblom here tonight in this game. I'm leaning over by Fecta here. Chicago Anaheim. I think it's a fatigued Chicago team. It's the shutout loss angle, which is not starting to heat up again, actually, the shutout loss angle as far as overs. The first period full game over starting to heat up again in these spots for teams coming off a shutout loss. So I will take that. The over by Fecta. Nothing sidewise here in this game. I certainly don't want Anaheim at minus 190, even though I think, it's certainly circled spot. Redemption for losing in Chicago last week. So over by Fecta is all I got here pregame. Alex, what do you think? Blackhawks, Ducks.
I'm on that over in the full game, 6.5. A little steep pregame for the first period over. I'm seeing as high as minus 165. So I'd wait for that to come down a little bit. But I am pregame on over 6.5. I think this is going to be a back and forth game. And I was looking forward to this game all week, like I said, because of how explosive this last matchup was at the United Center a while back. I think this could be a fun one. And like I said, with Soderblom in net, Husso in net, we could see goals back and forth here. I have a bargain bin, and it's not on the Hawks tonight. It's actually an Anaheim bargain bin coming from this game. So I have two of them. One's from Anaheim. But I have the over pregame in this one.
All right, good stuff. And like I said, I expect it to be Soderblom versus Husso as your two goalies. Would be surprised if it's anything but that. Chicago, as far as props for me with the Blackhawks, it's kind of a take-your-pick team right now, because I could certainly make a case for Burakovsky and Green flanking Bedard. Obviously, you're getting the value there. Oliver Moore's kind of percolating with Bertuzzi and Nazar all of a sudden. So that is definitely something to keep in mind there. For Anaheim, it's a lot of the same usual suspects: Carlson, Cutter Gauthier, Beckett Seneca. Great game from him against Washington the other night. So interesting to see how it plays out. I like that kind of thought Aaron's got with McTavish, because McTavish, they're buddies. There's like off the ice, they're very good buddies. They're good friends, Bedard and McTavish. They played for Canada World Juniors, I think once, if not twice, together with those past World Junior Canadian teams. But yeah, but you throw that out when you're on the ice and you're two ascending young teams, which was great to see. I love that. They're going at each other, even though they're friends off the ice. They put that shit aside. This is play for keeps here. They're playing to win a hockey game. I love that. When it's two friends and they don't mind mixing it up and getting, flapping, chirping each other and going after each other physically. I thought that was a phenomenal part about that Chicago-Anaheim game last week in Chicago. Put the friendship aside. This is business now.
The most notable friendship fight ever go way back in the day in the archives. Ole Kolzig and Byron Dafoe, they were the best man at each other's wedding, and they ended up getting into a goalie fight. And I remember that's what everybody kept hyping about when they showed that highlight, was that these guys were the absolute best of friends, but they were beating the shit out of each other. So, hey, you put that aside when you're on the ice.
All's fair in love and war, as they say. No question about that. Yes, we do have a sponsorship from a dispensary. We all pretty much always have had one. Of course, Boston Hemp Inc. initially, and of course now our great new sponsor, Royal Cannabis. So yes, great to have them on board. Great to have all our sponsors supporting us, and great to have all of you in the chat on YouTube supporting us. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Check out wizardsportspicks.com. It's a big day, obviously, as it always is on an NFL Sunday. We got NFL, NBA, college basketball, NHL. Check out some premium picks there. It's been a great run for me on the website. Matt, Alex, we're all there. Great work, great handicappers. Check out the Beyond the Lines video that I do every Sunday on the YouTube channel for Wizard Sports Picks. So check that out, wizardsportspicks.com. And check out patreon.com/Ice Guys, $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, bonus content, our daily side total and player props card posted each and every single day on the Patreon page, all for just $10 per month. So get on board. Your subscription and membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. So check it out, $10 per month, patreon.com/Ice Guys.
And also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Today is the last day to save 20% off as part of Cyber Week. This ends at midnight Eastern. You get 20% off. Hit the redeem button at the homepage. Add all your items to your cart, and the 20% will be taken off at checkout. Don't want to miss out. Get things in time for the holidays. You want to have your gifts under the tree. Definitely order now and save 20% off right now at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
Yeah, now's the time. You want that Ice Guys store merch under the tree. Get on board now and get that order placed as soon as possible. All right, bargain bin special of the night. Best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
Please for yourself with my mouth is the kings and queens shop.
Thanks to all our sponsors, including Royal Cannabis. Check them out, royalcannabisshop.com, 20% off with the promo code Ice Guys. All right, bargain bin special of the night. 8 games to choose from on this Sunday. Alex, we'll start with you. Bargain bin special of the night.
I got a pair of them. When we were talking about that Columbus-Washington game, we both like first goal and first period with the Blue Jackets. And just something kind of stuck out to me. I said, Sean Monahan to get the first goal of the game. You can grab that at FanDuel at 20-1. That's my first bargain bin special of the early evening. Second one comes from that Anaheim game against Chicago. And I'm looking at, it's mentioned in the chat, Uncle Leo. Leo Carlson to score not once, but twice. Plus 1,300. I think he's going to have a big game tonight for Anaheim because it's going to be a fun back and forth battle. I think we see a lot of goals. So give me 2 from Uncle Leo Carlson plus 1,300. And give me the first goal of the game from Sean Monahan at 20-1. That's my 2 bargain bin specials for this Sunday.
All right, good stuff indeed there for bargain bin specials for Alex here on this Sunday card, giving you 2 of them. Yeah, good find by Jonathan. We just heard the word that no Trent Miner, Jared Bednar opting for back-to-back starts for Mackenzie Blackwood. So Blackwood back in net here for a second straight day as they get set to take on the Philadelphia Flyers. Of course, that game is just about 20 minutes away, dropping the puck there on that game. For bargain bin special of the night for me here on this slate, I'm going to go to a guy for the Vegas Golden Knights that has scored in back-to-back games for them. And you know how streaky he can be. When you start to see him pop the goals in 2 in a row like he has, he can go on a bit of a heater for Vegas. I would expect that here. Jonathan Quick, good numbers, hasn't played in a while, though, so I could see Vegas getting on the board in this game, including this guy, close shave Barbashev, Ivan Barbashev here for the Vegas Golden Knights, plus 370. To get that price, guy on the top line, and he scored in back-to-back games. Yeah, that's definitely bargain bin worthy. Ivan Barbashev for Vegas, plus 370 for my bargain bin special of the night. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
All right, let's head on up to Montreal. You got the Blues taking on the Habs, and I like that first period over. I also like the full game over as well, but you can get that first period over right now over at Caesars minus $1.20. So we'll go Habs, Blues over 1.5 in the first. That's my Sunday best bet.
I think we'd had something similar on Friday where you had the first period over best bet, and I had the full game over best bet in the same game. And that is my best bet here. St. Louis, Montreal over 5.5 minus 120. Again, these bets have been just gold as far as coming through time and time again. Series history overs, and 6 straight games between the St. Louis Blues and Montreal Canadiens have gone over the total. These have been cashing all week. Betting these overs involving teams where head-to-head it's gone over in every recent meeting, and I hope we see more of the same here. St. Louis, Montreal, over 5.5, minus 120 for my best bet here for this Sunday NHL card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And again,
one more message I got to share.
Yep.
Bear down and fuck Green Bay.
There you go. I was going to say, I was going to mention that, and I almost forgot to. I know Alex is charged up. He's fired up for the hockey. He's just as, if not more, fired up for the biggest Chicago Green Bay NFL football game in, I would say, years, if not decades.
Since 2011. Yeah. This is the NFC title game. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is huge. It's first place for the NFC North. It's a great game, too. It's a very intriguing game. Can the Chicago run game, can that Swift and Monangai duo keep on rocking and rolling on the ground? I can't believe the difference in the offensive line last year to this year, and especially of late, with the offensive line is blowing holes open for their running backs. And they did it last week on Black Friday against a pretty good Philadelphia Eagles front defensively.
Exactly.
That was mind-blowing to me that they did that in Philly on the ground against that defense. Shocking, but shockingly impressive, obviously.
First time with a pair of 100-yard rushers in a game since 1985 when Matt Suey and Mr. Walter Sweetness Payton.
Yeah, I thought I was watching Matt Forte or Walter Payton out there for a little bit for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
But, boy, that's a great football game. Can't wait, 4 o'clock. I don't know if it's so great listening to Brady for 3 hours, but nevertheless, it's a great football game there between the Bears and Packers. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. And we are on at 2 p.m. Eastern, or back to 2 tomorrow, which is great. 7 and noon Eastern, Saturday, Sunday. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will be back tomorrow on Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.